I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. I would ask at this time for those who can rise, please do so to salute our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Council members Costa.
Here.
D'Amato.
Here.
Del Ripa.
Here.
Hudson.
Present.
Sandemeyer. Excused. Yazdi.
Thank you. Also with us, our municipal clerk, Brianna Calabro, and our borough attorney, Dawn Sullivan. This is an official meeting of the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale on December 27, 2017. The date, time, and place of this official meeting was faxed and mailed to all local news media and posted here at Borough Hall. The first order of business this evening are a few presentations. I first would like to welcome everyone here this evening. Welcome Bloomingdale residents. Welcome to guests of our recipients of various awards this evening. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for each and every one of you being here this evening. Today's a great day for Bloomingdale. We are going to promote an extremely fine police officer from sergeant to lieutenant. That's Officer Ron Frost. We are also going to recognize two businesses, Glenwald Garden Center for 90 years in business, which is absolutely incredible, and also Trey Chic for 40 years in business. And then we will be acknowledging many of our residents who are really the backbone of our borough, residents who have lived here 6 or more decades and contributed for many, many years to our community and has absolutely made Bloomingdale what it is today. So I'm very pleased that we'll be doing that in a few short moments. At this time, I would like to introduce Chief Joe Burrell to say a few words. Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. What a great night on so many fronts. I see a lot of people who I've known for many, many years, working in the town, growing up in the town, and it's a great night in Bloomingdale, like the mayor said. Very exciting to see such a great turnout. Tonight is a very special night. We are here to celebrate the promotion in rank, whereby Ron Frost will be promoted from the rank of sergeant to that of lieutenant. I think if you've asked every officer standing up here or every officer in law enforcement what one of their biggest achievements would be in their police career, I'm sure being promoted would rank very, very high at the top of that list. And, you know, Ron, this is your night to shine. Sadly, in a time where countrywide we remain under scrutiny for all the wrong reasons, in Bloomingdale, that is not the case. We have the support, unwavering support, of our mayor and council. So I know where it's tough out there in law enforcement at times right now. I can say in Bloomingdale we're extremely lucky to have the support of our mayor and council. And I thank you very much for that, as do all the officers. Without their support here tonight, we would not be celebrating such a milestone in Ron's career. I would especially like to thank the Public Safety Committee, which consists of John D'Amato, Councilwoman Dawn Hudson, and also what's that? Mike Sandemeyer, who I don't see here right now, but the Public Safety Committee, you know, they're the backbone of our council when it comes to who I deal with on a day-to-day business side of the police department. And again, their support with us has just been amazing, not only throughout this process, but throughout, you know, all my years of dealing with the Public Safety Committee. They've always been supportive, and this was no different with respect to our promotional process. They were actively engaged in this promotional process that started 3 years ago, and their hands-on approach, teamwork, and true desire to do what's best for the borough and best for the police department was visibly evident throughout that process, so thank you very much. But that being said, again, I thank everyone on the council, because while I deal directly with the Public Safety Committee, everybody up there made this decision. Our promotional process is a very time-consuming expense-laden, and family-impacting process. Each of our officers who were involved in this process, and again, it started 3 years ago, each of the officers studied hard, used their vacation time, and put countless hours of work into the furtherance of their career. They do it because they care. They do it to better themselves, and above all, they do it to better serve the public. I want to acknowledge Ron's family, Anita, Rachel, and Jessica, who can't be here. Obviously, having gone through the process myself, I know what it entails. It takes a lot away from the family, and it would not be possible without your support. So I know Ron, I'm sure, missed many family events over that time of studying and that entire process. So without your support, and also Jessica, who's not here, I don't think it can be completed. So, you know, I commend you all for that. So how do we get to the lieutenant promotion? The sergeants within the department were involved in an oral board examination generated and proctored by the State Police Chiefs Association. The exam included areas of supervision and management, New Jersey and U.S. constitutional law, Attorney General guidelines, directives, case law, arrest, search, and seizure, and the list goes on and on and on. It's a very, very exhausting process in which Ron and everyone who's been through the promotional process went through. So it's very involved. The sergeants then were interviewed by the council's Public Safety Committee that I mentioned earlier, using scenarios to determine leadership skills and supervisory knowledge, professional demeanor, and basically just to get to know them, what their perspective is on law enforcement and how they can help impact and make our department better. So that's just some of the things that were involved in this process. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy decision. You know, I will say that the Public Safety Committee, they had a lot to think about. We had a lot of qualified officers during this process, so it weighs on you, and it wasn't an easy decision by any means to make the final call on who gets promoted to sergeant, who gets promoted to lieutenant. We have a lot of qualified officers and good men that I'm actually very proud of. The council members had to make a decision not only for the short term, but also seeing what our long-term interests are also. And again, I'm very, very strong in that they made the right decision to make this move with Ron. So when all was said and done, the scoring list is compiled, and that list is good for 3 years. And that's what brings us here tonight, is the finalization of a promotion, you know, from that list. At this time, I would just like to give a little background on Ron. Ron is a 23-year member of our police department who is respected greatly by his peers, not only within our department, but also outside our department. Ron has he's a very, very smart man, and he has a computer business that gives him the opportunity to interact with police departments throughout the state. And one thing that I love about it is he'll go to all these different police departments, take the good things and bring them back to our department. So we reap the benefits from, you know, his experience in knowledge in computers that he takes to these other police departments and brings it back to us. So we all benefit from that, as do the members of the town. So, you know, Ron is respected throughout the law enforcement community. Ron has exemplified professionalism and a strong work ethic throughout his career. He's received several commendations and life-saving awards throughout his career also. Two that I can think of off the top of my head were a call on Van Dam where he saved somebody's life, and also on Main Street during, I believe, somebody shoveling and had a heart attack. So, you know, he's a leader by example, and I think that's the best kind of leader that you can have. Ron is not afraid to make tough decisions. He's open-minded, and above all, he leads by example. He's in charge of our IT and everything involved with our computers. For those who know Ron, that's his specialty. But policing today involves a lot of computers. It's cameras in cars. It's cameras located in different locations. It's state mandates and state guidelines that a lot of the behind-the-scenes things that I wouldn't have a clue about if I didn't have the expertise of Ron, to be quite honest with you, because he's much more computer literate than I am. So I rely heavily on that. I have no doubt that Ron is going to make a great lieutenant. I think he has earned it. I think that he is going to take the responsibility that comes with that position and, and handle it tremendously. And knowing the way he works, we're going to be a better department for it. So with that being said, Ron, I just want to congratulate you on a job well done and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Chief, very much. Before I swear in Ron, Lieutenant, I should say, soon to be. Anytime I have the opportunity to publicly acknowledge our police department, I do so. Tonight's about Ron and his promotion, but I would ask everyone for a round of applause for our entire wonderful police department. Now, behind every good man is a great woman, and that would be Anita. Anita, I welcome you. I thank you for allowing Ron to serve here in the borough. I'm sure as a spouse of a police officer, it's just not easy. So I would like to present you on behalf of the borough some flowers to Anita. Chief introduced Anita and Rachel. The younger daughter, Jessica, is away at college. Are we FaceTiming so she can see this? Is Jessica there? Okay, at least she can see it later. I was going to ask if there's any parties going on in Syracuse at the moment. But, At this time, before we do the swearing in, I would ask the governing body to make a motion for Resolution 2018 9.9, a resolution of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, to promote Sergeant Ronald Frost to lieutenant within the Borough of Bloomingdale Police Department. And who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I would just like to briefly read Resolution 2018 9.9. Whereas the Borough of Bloomingdale Police Department, in accordance with the Borough Code, has conducted a test for position of police lieutenant. Whereas Borough Code provides in Section 238 1.5 that the Public Safety Committee shall present the promotional candidate to the Borough Council and the Mayor and Council to approve. Whereas the Mayor and Council have considered the recommendation and wish to affirm same with the promotion of Ron Frost to the position of Lieutenant. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of Bloomingdale, Passaic County, State of New Jersey, that Ronald Frost is hereby recommended and promoted to the position of Lieutenant in the Borough of Bloomingdale, effective September 18th, 2018. And Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Costa.
Yes.
Tomato.
Yes.
Del Ripa.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. At this time, Anita, and Rachel took all the flowers. I'm going to ask you to come up. Hold the Bible. Ron, I'd ask you to please raise your right hand. Officer Frost, please simply repeat after me. I, Ron Frost,
I, Ron Frost,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and the governments
and the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of office of lieutenant
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. Congratulations, Lieutenant. And at this time, I'd ask Anita to please place your lieutenant badge. Don't stab me,
extend my gratitude for everything you've done for this police department. Anyone that doesn't understand, how this town works, it's very different than a lot of others. We've had incredible support from our mayor and council, like the chief said, especially where public safety is concerned. When you look around at the quality of this police department, everything starts at the top. And they give us the tools that we need to really build out this department and continue to do so in a changing environment. I just want the mayor and council to know that I am truly honored and humbled to receive this promotion tonight, and I'll give you every bit of effort I possibly have in achieving the goals that you've laid out for this position. I just want to extend my thanks to them.
Thank you very much.
I also, if I could, I just want to address the fine officers that are standing here. I'm actually blown away by the support. We have such a tight group, all of us, and we're all very tight in this department. We all get along like a family. There's no infighting or any of that stuff that goes on. And you can see, if you know these officers, if anyone in the crowd here has had the opportunity to meet any of these fine men standing here, these are some of the most professional, compassionate, dedicated public servants you're ever going to come across. So I just want to acknowledge and thank each and every one of you for being here for me tonight. That really means more than I can tell you. And as the chief alluded to before, it takes a toll on families. My wife and my daughters, I can't say enough how much their support means to me. When you miss holidays and you're dealing with some cranky person that hasn't had sleep in 3 days, and they're barking at you left and right, or they're putting unfair, expectations upon you because of my position, it's tough. It's tough, and I can't do any of this without that support. So I have to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And to all my friends and the rest of my family that are here, it's unbelievably heartwarming to see the level of support. When I look around this crowd and I see Chief Alexander, who hired me, and Chief Fletcher out there, who was before him, it shows you what this police department's made of generationally. And now we have a leader in place that is really the cause of this department, that is so well-tuned and all on the same page. The chief here, he'd be the last one in the room to want to get credit for anything, so I'm going to give it to him. He has found a way, year after year, over the last 10 years or so, 12 years that he's been in this position, to constantly motivate his officers to continue to be out there enforcing law and keeping this community safe, and all doing so while displaying incredible professionalism, compassion, excellence, and loyalty above all, not only to the department, but to this entire community. And that comes from the top. There's an old saying, you reap what you sow. This is what Chief Burrell lives and breathes. And it's passed down generationally from Chief Fletcher, Chief Alexander, Chief Burrell, and many more generations to come after. And I am so proud to be a part of that. And for that, I can't thank you enough.
Again, to all of Ron's friends and family, and those in law enforcement, thank you for being here this evening. Again, our former chiefs, especially Ron, I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be your mayor. You're a great friend to Bloomingdale. You're a great cop, now lieutenant. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Lieutenant Ron Cross. Next two presentations to please see we take a 2-minute recess. Many officers have to get back on the road. Some have to get here bright and early for another shift. And Ron needs to go party with the president. Excuse me. We'll resume our meeting at 7:31. Thank you very much. Thank you. Our next two proclamations are going to be awarded to two Bloomingdale businesses. I will read each and present them with the proclamation. But before I do that, the borough has established, probably close to a year and a half, 2 years ago, a very vital Economic Development Commission. And I'd ask the members who are with us this evening, Jen, is one, if you would come up and join me. Elise, Colin, if you would come up and join me. Nadia? Any other EDC members with us this evening? No. Thank you, ladies, for being here. The Economic Development Commission, which is, again, up and running and aggressive and reaching out to businesses, trying to engage that partnership between the borough and our local businesses. In any way we can help them thrive and be successful. So I thank the three of you for being here this evening and for the hours of time you put in to the Economic Development Commission. Our first proclamation, I would like to read it and then introduce the proprietors and present it to them. But before I call the McKen and Ross family up, I would like to read proclamation for 90 plus years in business. Whereas Alexander J. McKen Landscaping and Contracting opened business in 1928, often using a team of oxen to pull stamps and hauled wagons of bluestone slabs through the hills of West Milford. As World War II ended, the company became very busy and indispensable to the boom in the housing in our area. Many homes and businesses still boast the beautiful mature trees, landscaping, patios, and other stonework that his landscape crews installed in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Whereas Alexander J. McKen Sr. became well-known nurseryman in the state, being one of the early members of the New Jersey Nursery and Landscape Association, then known as the Metropolitan Nurserymen's Association. Constantly involving and responding to the needs of the community, Alex and his wife Mabel added the retail shop in 1958. The name Glenwell Garden Center and Nursery was born. Whereas after getting a degree in landscape design and horticulture, their son Alexander McKen Jr. started designing and running landscape services and crews in 1962. Father and son worked together for at least 20 years, landscaping, installing plants, driveways, patios, and more. Whereas in the early 1990s, third generation siblings Brad and Jody, who are here with us this evening, joined the business and now work with their nurseryman father. Jody's passion for organic gardening has given the business its mission for years to come, with an emphasis on natural products, organic gardening, classes, and community involvement. Brad is a licensed landscape architect with an eye for beautiful plantings and stonework, and enjoys introducing clients to sustainable and responsible stewardship of our land. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the mayor and council of the borough of Bloomingdale wish many more years of success to Glenwell Garden Center and Nursery, and express their appreciation for their small business in our community. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation be made of the permanent record of the borough of Bloomingdale, and that a copy of said proclamation be presented to Glenwell Garden Center of 104 Glenwell Ave, Bloomingdale, New Jersey, given in tribute this 18th day of September 2018. I proudly present to Jody Ross and Brad McKen this proclamation. We also proudly present to you the key to the city. Thank your parents too. Oh, I did forget. Our 100th anniversary borough. You know, it's impressive when you hear someone's in business for 10 years, 90, and then Tracy 40. It's actually mind-blowing if you think about it. It means they have a great product, great service, and that means the proprietors are really good people and do the right thing. Otherwise, none of these businesses would be around this long. So we congratulate them. And I'm proud at this time to present our next proclamation for 40-plus years in business. Whereas Trey Chic has celebrated 40 years of business on August 8, 2018. And whereas Trey Chic has been a longtime Bloomingdale business supporting the community, youth, and schools. Whereas Trey Chic has been a longtime business serving the local community. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Bloomingdale wish many more years of success to Trey Chic and express their appreciation for small businesses in the community. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation also be made part of the permanent record of the Borough of Bloomingdale, and that a copy of said proclamation be presented to Trey Chic of 53 Main Street, Bloomingdale, New Jersey. And I'm proud to introduce the owner, Rose Salucci, if you would please come up. Also would like to present you with a borough pin of the 100th anniversary, and also you would say proud of yourself. So, thank you.
Cross and balance. Thank you. The last one.
Thank you for being here. Okay, thank you, everyone. Now, our next presentation are to various extremely important residents to the Borough of Bloomingdale. I'd ask before I present, and before I invite my governing body down off the dais, we have this very wonderful, strong, committed 100th anniversary committee who has been organizing the year worth of events that we've been having, including this evening, Pride Day. Later, we'll be burying the time capsule later in the year, and some more events to come. At this time, I'd ask any member of our 100th anniversary committee to please just stand up so we can acknowledge and thank you for your dedication to our borough. So whoever is with us today, Alan, Ryan. This devoted group of volunteers, led by Councilman John D'Amato, who stepped up and really took the project of the 100th anniversary to a new level with the committee, again, organizing the events, preparing the history book. If you haven't seen it, it's in the library or for sale. Just a great job, and I deeply thank all of you for what you've done for Bloomingdale. Now, part of the committee's idea was to honor and thank residents who've been here and made Bloomingdale their home for a long time. And I said earlier, it is a result of these residents that has made Bloomingdale such a special place that it is. 60-plus years raising your families, remaining here, involved in the community, whether it have been recreation, various boards and commissions. Again, your tireless dedication and volunteerism doesn't go unnoticed. And the governing body thanks each and every one of you that we're going to present here this evening. I would ask the governing body to please come off the dais as we call up our recipients so we can congratulate them together. Now, I don't believe every one of our recipients is here this evening, but I will call them. And as our guests come up, if you can, and again, if anyone wishes not to have to come up, I'll be more than happy to bring you the certificate. So just give me the high sign, and that's what we'll do. Okay? So, everyone will receive a certificate that states, "Home is where the heart is." In proud recognition of your heartfelt commitment to our small American town, upon the celebration of its centennial anniversary, for your having called the Borough of Bloomingdale your home for the last 6 decades. This has the gold seal of the borough, and the governing body proudly presents this to each and every one of you the 18th day of September 2018 by the governing body of the Borough of Bloomingdale. Our first recipient of our Centennial Award, it's not here this evening, is Alex J. McKen Jr. So glad we receiving on his behalf is Brad. Everybody is honored to present James Schauger with a Centennial certificate, sir. How are you? That's for you, sir. And I'm going to ask Councilman D'Amato to say a few words about Jim.
Well, for those who don't know, and you've heard it if you have the book, you know the Bloomingdale Trooper baseball team. Going back years ago, Mr. Schauger was back. And I believe your grandfather was general manager, well, your father was general manager of the Troopers. And born on Orchard Street. All right, so he does have a long time in Bloomingdale, and that's a big part of our history as Troopers, and that's our claim to fame as professional baseball. But he was the bat boy back then. And I'm fortunate enough to have a picture of that, of the whole Trooper team with him in it. He did that to me when I used to coach the traveling Troopers to go to Cooperstown. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much. The governing body is honored to present Carlo Imperato. Our next recipient, Dorothy Myers. Congratulations. Dorothy has lived here for 90 years. I'm honored to present Marie Van Orden. Before we go away, 76 years in Bloomingdale. Tough cookie, man. I coached football, and you had grandchildren?
No.
Children? Everyone?
No.
No? Just, she loved the game, and nieces and nephews.
Yeah, right.
And had every game rooting on, and certainly giving the coaches a lot of time when we deserved it. So, thank you, congratulations. Thank you. Very pleased to present Patricia Riley. How many years? 57. That counts. Perfect. You got it. Pleased to present Grace Yates. Grace, with us. Thank you, Grace. This is for you. And walk you back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So how many years? You have anything to say?
Well, my son just told me it was 1959.
October 30th, 1970.
Out of 5 children, 4 firefighters, we thank you for your service. Thank you for making Bloomingdale home.
Thank you, John.
I don't know. We're certainly honored to present our next recipient. This gentleman you've seen for years walking through town, and especially at polls in District 1, Mr. Stephen Lyons. Congratulations to you. Thank you. This is for you. We have a pin for you. Thanks, Steve. Our next recipient is extremely active in our borough. Mary Ann Rickelman. Mary Ann has served Board of Education, senior committees, the list goes on and on. So thank you again for making me thank you. Our next recipient, Daniel J. Matthews.
Recipient who I had the pleasure of meeting in 1978 when I first joined the fire department. He was the chief of the fire department. 55 years in the fire department. Mr. Williamson.
Bill's son is a councilman. We had a business obligation this evening, but the whole Sondermeyer family is dedicated to the borough, and Bill, as councilman, attests to the years in our fire department. So thank you.
You see him out there in the yellow vest, he's fire police, and he's responsible for the firehouse before any of the young guys get there. It's amazing. They're doing it for $5.
I'm honored to present our next recipient, Alta L. Reed. A round of applause. Certainly honored to present, and thank you for calling Bloomingdale home, Greg Crump. Our first tag team presentation, I'm honored to present Kenneth and Dolores Barrett. Pleased to present Ernest Tanner. Is Ernest with us? Our next recipient, Robert and Mary Tintle. For our next recipient, I'd like to invite former Councilwoman Joanne Fatouche to join us in this presentation. Now, before I give the floor to Councilwoman Fatouche. Our next recipient, Dorothy Tintle. Dorothy, actually, come on up, Dorothy. Well, Dorothy and I go back a long way. We've had many a good debate. She usually kicked my butt.
I tried.
She was a strong advocate for this borough, an advocate for the environment, served on many boards and commissions, and very glad to know you. And I enjoyed our tiffs at times. Usually I didn't, though, to be honest. But I thank you from a lot of my heart for everything for the borough and Councilwoman did for the initiative.
I do want to say thank you. I wish you the best to get elected as a councilwoman, and we truly appreciate it. And you know I love you. And thank you so much.
I wasn't kidding about this. Our next recipient, Donald and Marilyn Barry. The next Centennial Award to Francis Gregory. Our next recipient, who I got to know over the last few years, attends our meetings regularly, always keeps me on my toes, Thomas Gnome, Richard Dow. Thanks, Richard.
For you that don't know, Richie was also a fire chief in Bloomingdale, and how many years? 54 years in the fire department.
I'm very pleased to present our next Centennial Award to this couple who's lived here for a long time, raised their family, served in so many capacities in our borough, and honored to know them, Rudy and Lena Walls. Congratulations. Thank you. How are you? For those who don't know, Rudy and Lena's daughter is Barbara, our tax collector. Everyone loves Barbara. Thank you.
The next two recipients are one. I had a pleasure of meeting a while ago, all right? And had a pleasure meeting my family years ago. And I've been better known as Tomato Head. But it's an honor for me to have you two here tonight. Kenwood and Diane Millett.
One thing I remember about Kenwood and his wife are, a lot of the grandkids are my kids' age, and you guys never missed the sport that your kids were in, and that's how I got to know you guys a little bit, so thanks again for making sure you there. Our next two recipients, been here for a lot of years, taking up the whole exit door in the back. But the Miller family is truly an asset to the borough of Bloomingdale. They have contributed in so many ways, not just mom and dad, or kids. In one way or another, everyone is or has been involved in this borough and made it a better place. So now to know the family and know where their compound is up on Great Party Place, I'd like to proudly present Harvey and Caroline Miller. Well, I'm just glad they don't run for mayor, that's all I can. Thank you, Millers. Our next two recipients, dear friends of mine, neighbors in Morse Lakes, great people, just always there to help out. This is William, but I only know him as Bill. Bill and Barbara Bremer. I'll ask Bill to come up, 'cause I know Barbara just had an accident, so she's not with us this evening, but she's doing well. And they raised their family here in North Lakes. Great neighbors. Thank you.
And I have wanderlust. I've been in Clifton for 4.5 years. Bloomingdale is great.
Thanks, Bill. Our next recipient, Jean Van Orden. Jean. This next woman has served a lot of years on our environmental commission. I put this evening. But Viola Shipley, is live here this evening? Yeah, we'll get her certificate. A round of applause. It's really an honor to present Doris Fassler. Is Doris with us this evening?
Okay. Our next recipient used to own a business in town, and right down here looks like better known as Ed's Auto. Lily Crew, I don't know if she's here. Pete, are you here? Right here.
She thinks 60 this year. She bore a baller in 1920, so she hasn't gone too far.
Thanks, Pete. I gotta tell you. And the final certificate I have, and if we missed anybody, please speak up, but I have for Charles D. Bleak.
Chuck knows Chuck.
Chuck. The centennial certificate came from the 100th Committee, who stood earlier, the announcement. And we compiled this best we could, reaching out to people. So if anyone here knows a family who's been here that we should acknowledge, please let us know, because I'll do this 10 more times. So I thank each and every one of you. I'm honored to serve as your mayor. I'm honored to serve as your council. Yep. And before I wrap it up, his name was mentioned earlier, but also with us, a longtime Bloomingdale resident, a great asset, Chief Fletcher. I just want to acknowledge. So again, as your mayor, I'm always here if you need me. Communication's easy. My cell phone's everywhere. If you need help, you call me or any of our governing body members. Proud to be your mayor. Have a safe night. Thank you. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
That was very nice. You have a lot of people looking for on time.
Thank you, everyone. There's no early executive, there are 2 non-agenda items. I'm sorry, 1 non-agenda item, which is introduction of a new parking ordinance to open up parking on Main Street a little bit to promote growth on the Main Street corridor at this time. That's our non-agenda item. Do you need a motion for early public comment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Now, normally reserved for agenda items, but I know Joe is here specifically. Joe, this would be the time, so you don't have to wait. You want to come up? Yeah, I'll give the background, so you don't have to. But come up to the podium here, and it's not on the agenda, but Joe's been here through the services, so I will have him give me the opportunity today. But let me, before you go, just give the governing body a little background. I'm quite sure the governing body's been just told about this by me in the past. When did it all start? April? May?
March-ish.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that. Actually,
Yeah, the letter I got from the DOT doesn't have a date on it. So.
yeah, he actually doesn't.
Yeah, so anyway, so Joe Fahey moves to 38 Hillside Drive, in town and works for the DOT, and I'll let Joe explain his job duties. And as a result of his job duties, has a large truck that he had at his premises. And it's by code over the weight allowance that we have on our ordinances. So our property maintenance officer is just doing his job and sends him a letter back in March, April, saying, hey, got to go, it's too big, as we do with any truck over a certain tonnage. And then Joe contacted me saying, hey, I work for the DOT, I'm 24/7, 365 on call. And again, I'll let Joe just find the details of his duties. So after hearing that and speaking to Joe's boss at the DOT and receiving a letter from the DOT, the regional electric supervisor at the time, explaining the situation, I deferred to our ordinance review committee, and the ordinance review committee came back. Summer got in the way, and I kind of didn't press Joe on making a move. We just say, give me time, let me, just leave it, you're good for now, let me do some homework. So ordinance review came back, and it was against the idea of tailoring any specific ordinance to allow Joe to keep his car there. I was thinking, can we do something along, state-owned vehicle, DOT, the job description, but the position of the ordinance review was, afraid of setting precedent, because you can't really use the issue of it's my livelihood, I need my vehicle, because how many contractors are not allowed to keep vehicles here? It's their livelihood, they have to pay off-site storage, they all do, anything over whatever, the 10,000 pounds, whatever it is. But try to find a unique situation of the emergency service, can we look at that? And the concern of the ordinance review was, well, again, setting precedent, where do you draw the line? Like if, let's say you had a sheriff's officer who's on 24-hour hazmat response, then we get those big buses showing up in driveways. So where do you draw the line? So the ordinance review came back with a declination, probably in the beginning, middle of the summer, and I kind of just didn't force it on Joe at that time. And then Joe had emailed me a couple weeks ago, and I said, just let me follow up one more time. And after doing so, I sent Joe the email today saying, hey, no luck, don't have support from the ordinance review to bring this forward, and you need to move the vehicle. So that's why Joe's here, because he called me and saw we had a meeting and wishes to plead his case. And I know you said you're going to talk to Trenton, and if there's some legalities that we could do this, avoiding setting precedent, we'll have that conversation. So the floor is yours in the sense of, why don't you just explain what it is you do, and then we can go from there.
Joe, what's your address again? I'm sorry.
38 Hillside Drive.
Okay.
On the corner of Bowen.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm an electrical mechanic for the state. I take care of all the traffic signals for a third of the state, for the most part. I respond on anywhere between 120 to 150 calls per service every year, not including snowplow, which I don't really consider an emergency situation, but the truck is assigned to me. I have to be on scene within 1 hour of responding of accepting the call for service. As I spoke to the mayor about, and actually I just got your email. It just uploaded, so
Okay.
I didn't even see it before.
As far as you might have to wait a while.
Waldwick alone has 4 of my trucks in driveways all year round. One guy, Kevin Rago, who I know you spoke to,
Yeah.
He's been with the Department of Transportation for 33 years.
But they don't have an ordinance, though.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't.
what I was told.
Yeah, no, I know, that's the irony. They're just looking the other way, so.
Yeah. We're just, the truck has to be with me, it has to be within, I have to be able to respond at a quick pace. Everyone thinks it's like it could be something as simple as a traffic light on flash, but I've gotten calls where the cops are calling me saying, hey, there's a car on top of your live wires. We can't touch it, and somebody's stuck inside, we gotta get this thing shut down. Nobody has access to our equipment but us. And there's only, in my section, there's only 4 guys. And one lives in Sparta, I believe. He might have to go from Sparta to Northburg and Jersey City, Newark, to take care of these calls. That's why we're saying it's imperative that truck be parked. We're new residents. We spoke with all our neighbors. I try not to make it. I try not to make it too obvious that the truck's there. I park on the side, so when you come up the street, you see trees. You don't see,
kind of see the top of it, but I try not to make it too obvious that it's there. That's basically how
Yeah. The issue.
What's the weight of it?
it's registered. The state has it registered at 19.5 or something like that.
What's the ordinance?
10, I think.
It's got the bucket on top, right?
14,000?
Yeah.
So it's done.
The ordinance is 14,000. But, the issue for the ordinance review, and this is, I'll defer to Dawn, and maybe you could do a little more research, is, is there really any legal basis for us to do anything? I mean, I can't imagine the state can trump and make us do it specific for this, but the concern is setting precedent, because you can only imagine, we're quite an artisan town with contractors with large trucks, plumbers, and all that, and the only difference one can say is your emergency response and they're not. Well, if you talk to the plumber who's on 24-hour sewer cleaning for St. Joe's Hospital, he's going to think his job is equally as important as yours. So why can't he keep his car? So that's the concern.
Well, my question would be is, I came from the service industry through cable, and we would get poles down, whatever, but our guys that drove the big utility trucks, there was places where they were not allowed to keep in their driveways and stuff like that. They either left it at the yard, drove there, and get their truck and go, and their response time was supposed to have it back up and running in an hour. But at the end of the day, some people were just not allowed because their town wasn't allowed, or they lived in an apartment complex, they didn't allow it.
Yeah.
And,
No, it's an extremely tough.
it's still an emergency, but.
Yeah. I just can't imagine, like, Joe mentioned Waldwick, 4 guys, I called Waldwick. They don't have an ordinance. Well, they do, and those trucks are in absolute violation. So I didn't want to pursue it and then cause trouble for the 4 that are up there.
Right.
So I just said, okay, thank you, bye. I didn't say why I was calling, because it could have been like, they don't know. Is it more rural? Are they hidden better? Sparta, I'm shocked if Sparta really allows that truck to sit there. That one shocks me, because they're.
And he's got a small, like one of those little pads.
Yeah, no, I'm real shocked, because they're as strict as we should be, and/or Ridgewood is. So that's where we are. I said, Joe, come, we'll have a conversation. Here's the quandary. I've been liberal in the sense of, telling our properties code official to, hey, just hold off. I'm still trying to figure this out. And enough time passed where he just went and issued another letter. Hey, move it, and then that's when Joe called me. And I went back to property maintenance, hey, give me a little more time. And property maintenance actually called me today and said, John, what are we doing? I can't not send him letters and make him move it when 2 doors down, I may be making a guy move a $19,000-pound vehicle.
And there used to be somebody around the corner from you that used to keep a bus in
A
their
school bus,
driveway,
and they were
them
made
move
to
it.
move. They were made to
Not
move.
that that's
So-
an emergency, but it's just,
Yeah, so that's the issue. Now, honestly, there's been minor complaints. I can't say, there has been. I don't know who. I can't say next door neighbors. Could be someone 10 blocks away seeing it. It's always the me too. Hey, I had to move my truck. Look at that guy. That's what happens. The mud thing I said to you was property maintenance said he did get a mud complaint that you were parking on the grass, and with all the rain, I guess, backing out, tracked mud in the street and all that. I mean, I'm sure with today's rain it washed away. So I don't know how critical that is, but I'm just telling you that's what I heard. The backing at 3 a.m, the beep, beep, beep was mentioned as a concern. No one complained about it, but it was, can that become an issue? So this is where we are. Do we continue the conversation? Don't want to lose a residence. Joe's like, I like Bloomingdale. I want to stay. I was thinking about building a house, and if I got to go, then I got to go. It's my livelihood. But, I had said to you, there's DOT in Riverdale. Why can't you just park it there?
I don't want, every yard, like I'm at the total, every yard has lock and key, you can't get it.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed.
In the beginning, I was thinking, hey, how about, and I'm against this idea, I'm just bringing it in case someone thinks of it, park behind Borough Hall. Well, the problem with that, is again, setting precedent. I don't want to get in the rental business of allowing contractors or anyone
who's
with big.
responsible for it, I want to say.
Well, and then there's a snow removal issue and all that, if it's plowed in, it's not my problem, so that's off the table. But if anyone was thinking that along those lines, I mean, like the average carpenter or contractor, I know a lot, pay extra money to keep it where they legally can. So, again, Joe's here to have that conversation, so.
So
What
is property maintenance saying right now that it has to be gone by
has
when?
to be, well, again, and you was a letter say 10 days. The original letter probably said 10 days, and I bought you time. Did he send another letter? Did you get another one?
Back in August, I think.
Right, so that was 10 days, but I asked for time, and it was probably, it's emailed me today saying, hey, what are we doing with this? And I was kind of like, don't know, hoping it'll go away. No, I'm kidding. I said, okay, I got to deal with this now, and I sent him the one, nothing I could do for you. And
Do we
that's what
have-
he said.
Although,
Is
Dylan,
there-
I was saying that I put in an email, every time it seems that I take a day off, it seems I get a letter, I get an email from you, I get a letter from him a couple days later. It's like constant, like, it's this guy driving past my, you know.
Well, that's his job, so no matter what you.
6:30 to
Well,
4:30
again,
every day.
I can't, I'm sure he's keeping an eye on it, but I can't speak to, regardless of what you think, he's doing his job. There's nothing you could say otherwise. His job is to enforce the code, as he does 20 times a day from tall grass to heavy vehicles. So, you know, I'm sure he does drive around. It's his job. He drives around town. So he probably just saw it and said, I gotta go.
Our car's parked in the driveway because I got a letter. So he shows no prejudice.
So this is where we are. You know, again, I could buy, you know, we're not summons, you know, not getting crazy and issuing summonses. We're just, I don't know if the conversation has to be done, and we're say, Joe, that's it, we're done. Or I'd ask Dawn, you know, and I'm pretty sure I did with Fred previously, you know, research it, and there's no law that says we have to do anything.
Right.
And the concern goes back to the precedent of,
Right, what
you know,
purpose?
now Joe raised the issue of our code is commercial vehicles over a certain weight. It's not commercial, it's state-owned. I mean, that it's intended based on size. You know, that's what we know the intention is of the ordinance, so. So I don't expect anyone to, you know, come out with the answer now. I mean, but ultimately, I was taking the advice of of ordinance review not to move forward. I can always put it on the agenda and have the council vote on it, but if the council's not, usually we heed the advice of our ordinance review. That's why they're
We
there.
have these committees for that reason.
Correct.
And they set
Right.
the rules, and we
Right.
adopted those rules, we
Right.
should stick to those rules.
And
The only-
usually there's a public process in something like this, right? He says that, I talked to all my neighbors, they're all fine with it, but they're not here to
Well,
speak for
but,
themselves.
but
Or the other guy
Right,
just
so-
driving
so-
by
that
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 has
would
a
be an
truck that
ordinance.
may
You do an
move.
ordinance, public notice, you know, that kind
Right,
of
really
could
would.
there be a variance to the ordinance that, you know, would allow?
You can't set
but
precedent.
I know, I get it, but that will be the process as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned. You can't just bypass all the processes and just come here and say. okay.
No, you would change an ordinance. If the council would say, you know, let's do something, you would be changing an ordinance to allow however
Yeah,
you
but we
define
don't
it.
see it all over the time.
Correct,
and
that's
we
the
don't
issue.
want it.
That's the
We
issue.
don't want that.
That's the issue.
Joe,
like-
it's the state DOT, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, New Jersey Department of Transportation.
Okay. You know,
And they're
I,
actually, they're Treasury Department employees.
okay.
So Joe,
We can look
everyone
into
that has a
it
big
and see
truck,
if there's anything,
Well, that I need to
Every
confirm. I think it
one of
was
my
done already.
crew
Just check with that.
has a take-home vehicle.
but
There's-
throughout the state,
No,
everyone that
there's-
does your job,
Yes. That
Keeps
does
it at their
my
home?
position, Yes. They all take them home.
And the one town, because I didn't hear about Sparta until tonight, that had 4 of them,
I'm pretty-
it was more than,
He's way out.
Waldwick, it was more than one, whatever town it was,
Yes.
doesn't have an ordinance. And I didn't want to inquire, oh, yeah, well, you got 4 cars there.
No,
I didn't do that. I just said,
Does that-
okay, thank you.
Does the vehicle have to be with you?
I can't drive it after work hours, but it has to be on, I have to be within a few minutes of it. Like right now, I know, there's one guy had to be on a call. And he's waiting, so he just texted me before he's up, awaiting a call. So I mean, probably tonight I'll be out on a call.
But I'm saying if you found, like say for instance, you had a commercial piece of property that was around the corner from you, you made an agreement with them, would that be
Would the
acceptable?
DOT pay the rent?
No.
No, I don't even necessarily mean pay the rent, but, not necessarily
DOT
pay the rent, but if you make a deal with a company that is willing to host your vehicle during hours, I mean, is that acceptable by the,
I don't even know where, I mean, the DOT is not gonna do, they barely pay us, let alone paying for.
that's not what I'm asking, but I'm saying if you had a local business that was around the corner from you. and
But no
you-
local business can just let you put it there for nothing. Like
Yeah.
behind
Right,
Energy
but we-
Beams back there, that's what the guy does. He rents bays and dumpsters and slots. You know, there's one in Riverdale. That's
My son keeps-
behind Matthews where the contractors pay for space. To keep their equipment, their lawnmowers, their in little, you know, the sea container kind of things, they rent and then they park their truck. But these guys are paying anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month. to
I
be
think
there.
Dawn's point is, it doesn't have to be in your driveway.
That was my question.
It just has to be within close distance so you
Yeah,
can
for
get to
response.
it and respond
Within a
within the
couple
But I
time
also,
necessary.
under 40 degrees, it has to be plugged in also. Because it's diesel, so it needs to be
ready to
They
Okay.
go.
want plugged in out under 40 degrees.
What amazes me is that this hasn't been an issue before with the DOT. Because I can't imagine, if you had a guy who worked in Ridgewood, there's no way that truck would be allowed to be parked in the
Not
driveway.
for nothing, my parents live in Frank Lake, so I moved here, and I don't have one problem with it.
Really?
I never had one issue with
You
anybody.
had a long driveway in Franklin Lakes, didn't you, where nobody was,
Not the same as mine.
Yeah, I'm just,
Yeah, mine's-
unless they
mine's
all
double
just
wide.
look
My
the other
parents are
way,
single.
you know? I don't know. It's just,
I
all
worked out on the street.
You know, check and see, maybe there's some kind of a
right, so here's what we're gonna do.
exclusion for
The
a
council-
state.
The council's gonna think about it. I'm not gonna, rule with an iron fist yet. Just, we're gonna go status quo, and I'll advise Westlake that it's under attorney review. But there's gonna come a time where we're gonna say, yeah, we can help you, or this is it, we're done, there's nothing we can do. And that's after your final research, or they'll check with Fred.
Absolutely,
believe
I'll
we went
check
through
with him
this
first.
in March or April. Council can think about it. I just wanted you to know the ordinance review's position. I'm gonna talk to Kevin, or no, yeah, that's who called me, your boss, right?
Yes, yeah.
And go back with him again, which I did previously, and just said, hey, let me look on it, look at it. But when he got the second notice in August, his boss called me again, and I played phone tag, and I sent you the email, so.
Okay.
So hang in there. Again, no promises. It's a quandary for us, because these other towns just have to be looking the other way. And that's a concern for us, maybe because we're more, artisan than other towns, where we have more of that, Think about how many contractors you know. That sounds silly. I mean, I'm sure Ridgewood, there's tons of contractors too, but just can't believe the Ridgewoods and the Spartas and all just don't have a problem with it. Doesn't that puzzle anybody else? A little bit?
No, a little bit.
No? Doesn't me.
I mean, if there was a state vehicle exclusion, like you
Right,
suggested.
that's
we could take a look
that's
at
what
that.
we'll look into, because
Other than-
that seems like that would be the only relief available, is
Right.
if there's some exclusion for state vehicles.
Because the bottom line is, I need a mechanism not to set precedent, so when Joe the plumber says, hey, I can't say, well, he's more important than you. Because that's really what it is, Hey, there's statute 39 colon blah, 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 here's the legal basis for me to allow to do it. So I'm hoping that exists. So you hang tight, promise you communicate, I'll call Kevin tomorrow, and just tell him we're still plugging on it, so.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, check with the state. I mean, they must have their.
See, if I,
In the past.
the guy above, the guy that wrote this letter, I also called him along with Kevin as soon as I got the mayor's email. And he said basically, it's a state vehicle, I'm under first responder, and it's an emergency vehicle. It's like, I'll just have to call Trenton and have it dealt with. That's basically what he told me, 'cause he's like, it's.
So there must be some sort
Yeah.
of, something out there.
I'm guessing he's
More
heard
than
this
just,
before.
we're just gonna deal with it.
He's also been there 30 years, so I'm guessing he's heard it before.
Well,
And
I-
he was actually in my position.
But I would have thought that Tom Lauerman, who's the assistant regional supervisor, who sent me the letter, would have said, hey, reference 39 colon, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
All he said is, I'm requesting a solution to resolve this problem. So, the thing is, I'd love to find out what the solution to these other towns is, but at the same time,
You don't want to
I don't want to open a can of worms for the
Yep.
other guys,
Bucks, yeah.
I have a feeling Waldwick, Sparta, whomever, is just not bugging them. Because no one else is complaining. Well, I know Bloomingdale all too well, that eventually someone's going to say me too. I know that.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, we'll communicate in the next few days. I'll talk to Kevin tomorrow, and we'll see if we can come up with that way that we legally
We'll
can
look into it.
justify it, and we'll do our best, so. Because like you said, I know I like Bloomingdale, I want to stay here, and the decision is you got to move it, and you're going to up and move. There's no guarantees that wherever you go, you're not going to have the same problem. That's the puzzling part, too. So, did you buy your house or you rented it?
I bought.
You own it, right. So, we hate to lose anybody, but it's not like you're gonna go to Butler and they're gonna allow it, or go, I'm just saying, I'm surprised it seems like we're having a discussion about a unique thing, and I can't imagine it's unique. It shouldn't be like cut and dry, so. Give me some time, but like I said, I'll make sure Bob doesn't issue any summonses, but he's in the most concentrated of all of us, because I'm on him for everything, and this one I'm like, I'm on him, like, bad with stuff. And now I'm like, oh, but this one, it's just it's not fair. It's making me look bad. He's like, hey, Mayor, So it's not gonna go on too long, whatever we do, so give me a week, okay?
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Be well.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak, public comment? Stuff.
Yes.
Jennifer Altfield, 17 Cedar Street. Hi, guys.
How are you?
All right, and you?
Very well, thank you.
Big question.
Yes.
Are we hitting any oil in Sloan Park
No,
with the amount of digging they're doing?
No, a lot of rock.
all ledge. The culvert in the back design is 4 foot, which is 4 foot depth to control to lower the floodplain, 1 foot on the 100-year storm, and they've hit nothing but ledge. So, yeah, it looks like the moon there now. So all that big piles of dirt and stone is from, how wide is it, John? The swath?
45 feet wide by about
The length of the park.
the length of the park.
That is all that stuff,
Yeah,
material out.
What they have to do is they have to go down approximately, I'll say about 8 feet, and then they go in, they put this membrane down stone in baskets and build it up with stone, so the water right now goes underneath versus over the top to filter the water through and keep it going right through the park. I've been in there when after it rained really hard. It's amazing what it's doing.
It's working.
It's gonna work. But everything you're seeing in the front came from that culvert in the back. A lot of it's going back, because they're separating the dirt from the rock, they're crushing the rock, they're
Right,
trying to make it
right,
look
I
as
saw that.
natural, but put the rock back to make it look natural. So it'll be really nice when it's done, but it's just very time consuming, and it looks like the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Right.
And the concern, because it's going on, is, you know, the when can we work in the river restrictions, are gonna come and haunt us again, when the DEP's gonna say, oh, trout time, wood turtle time, get out of the river. And I said to the engineer just today, I said, well, there's no way we could do another work stop. Demobilization, we're gonna have to pay the contractor to leave and come back in March.
Yeah, well, we
Gotta
didn't even
rock and roll
schedule
and get
a
through this.
river cleanup.
Well, we didn't, I canceled river cleanup because it was just too unsafe there.
We discussed it
Yeah.
at BEC, and
Yeah.
it's just not advantageous.
Yeah, no, we had talked to Tony and Frank about that.
Now, I have another
Yeah.
question. Supposedly, the joint for the water
The interconnect.
interconnect
Yeah.
is in there?
It is in there.
Are they taking it out?
Yes,
While
the-
they're digging around?
Well, here's what the intention, part of the initial permit process was to fix the interconnect
Right.
to get Butler water that way. And the permit included that work. The interconnect is there, but it's going to be removed
It's removed,
because
it's gone.
we found that on the other side of the bank, there's contamination, known contamination, known DEP's monitoring it, that's owned by the business back there, and it's known. And they do well monitoring wells and all that. The issue was if we dug it, or Butler and us together dug it to extend the water line, there's a water line there already, but we had to replace it, or Butler had to replace it. Once you do that, disturb it, now you're on the hook for the cleanup and
We
so.
don't wanna be there.
So we didn't want to do that. So we said, oh, new idea, we're going to remove it. Now we're putting a pump station up on the
Right,
corner of Main
And
by the
Elizabeth.
body shop,
Yeah.
and that's how we'll get the water supply. Matter of fact, the DEP just issued the permit for the pump station, and I'm hoping by the fall, late fall, we'll finally be connected to Butler,
Okay.
which is a reduction in cost of water.
Because I was thinking, being they're digging around in there, they might
Yeah, they
as
cleaned
well
everything out, pulled
take
it all out,
It's all gone.
electric
So
tube.
it's already
It's all
removed.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
gone. Like John said, that there's the telephone pole in the center where all the power was going to, that's
Right.
all removed. They put new poles in, Butler Electric, ran new electric lines through there, so it's out of the way. The park will be wide open now once it's done.
Well, they're gonna plant trees, though, the design.
Well, they're
part of
gonna plant the
landscape
trees and
design.
make it look nice, but I'm just saying you don't have a telephone pole in the middle of it, so you
Right.
can actually
Yeah.
use the park,
Right.
Yeah,
you know. so-
Although the swath in the backs takes up a lot of the park,
Yeah.
the flood park. But,
yeah.
We'll
Well,
make
it
it
was
part of the
just an
design.
idea that hit me, and I'm like, well, being they're digging, why not remove it?
oh no, it's gone, because there was no longer a use for it.
Not bad for a blonde.
Yeah, not bad. Anyone else? Seeing no, a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Reports. Bree, do you have anything for us?
No.
Dawn, anything for us?
Just to follow up on the oral argument on the appellate matter, Fred sent a memo
A memo,
around
yes.
that it went really well, and we're anticipating a favorable decision from the appellate division.
Great, great. Everyone, a memo came late in the afternoon, so if you had an opportunity, take a look.
I read it this morning.
Regarding the matter Huntley versus the Borough in Tilcon. Thank you. Any council member have anything? Other than 5K this weekend, car show Friday evening, 5K and Pride Day Saturday, all hands on, because I have to set up and then leave, as I stated previously, my son's football game. So I'm going to leave at 11:30, so I need bodies there, but I'll have it ready to go. So I know, John, you'll be there, and as many as you can. And we have DPW to assist as well. So it's going to be a great day, and hopefully a dry day. Anyone else have anything?
So far it is.
This time?
John?
Yes.
I was just wondering, now that you mentioned it, you know, I texted you over the weekend about the status of DeLazier Field.
Yeah, right.
Did they go ahead and do the fill in the divots and stuff like that?
Yeah,
or-
well, you know, we went there, and it's really nothing fillable other than creating more of a mud mess with topsoil. So the guys tomorrow are going to roll it. They have a heavy roller they're going to pull behind the equipment to level all the footprints that were made in the mud.
Okay.
Tough year for DeLazier, a lot of wet, a lot of heat, and the field's in rough shape. Although, the first game of the season in the mud really trashed the center of that field.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, the center's
so-
gotten pretty bad.
Again, we'll
I mean,
get there.
I heard people saying it looked like it was already October in terms of field
Yeah,
usage.
because they were on it early,
Yeah.
denying it, but well, they practiced on it, played on it hard that first game, and it shot. But it was weak before they started because it had a fungus issue. So it was
Right,
a
I
rough
hadn't heard
season.
about the fungus issue before.
And I said to our pro, I said, well, Walter T. Bergen's fine, and he said, because that drains well. You know, DeLazier's as wet as Walter T., but because of the work we did, Walter T.'s draining. DeLazier doesn't drain as well, so all that moisture just caused rot, and we have a tough grass situation. So when the season's over, we'll crown it, seed it, tarp it for the winter, and should be fine next year. The other problem with the sod, there's a lot of new blood in the football program, so they don't really, we've done it so many years, we just know what to do, what not to do. They were on the sod, playing on the sod when it was soaking wet, and it just caused ruts and problems, so. DPW, I did meet DPW on Monday, and they're gonna rectify it best they can.
Okay.
And I sent that to Kevin Smith and Sal from the football group.
Right. I mean, I was just wondering, because you said they were going to come out, but it didn't.
Yep.
I think
seem
all
like
they
there
gotta
was a
do
lot
is
to
roll
do.
it,
Well,
put a roller on it.
they're gonna roll it, and hopefully we get some dry time. That's the other problem for the field this year.
That's not
All right, anything else? All
Yeah,
right.
I do.
Yes,
Happy birthday tomorrow.
thank you very much.
We should have gave him a certificate.
I should go. I'm only here 28 years.
Maybe we should give him a key.
Would you like a pen?
No, I had a delicious, what was it? Pumpkin cheesecake
Pumpkin maple.
that our CFO made today. Really good. Okay, can I have a motion for consent agenda resolution 18.9.8 through 9.14? Who makes that motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Tomato,
Yes.
Delripa,
Yes, except I abstained from the August 21st minutes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa.
Yes.
Thank you. No pending items, new business. Item A, I need a motion to approve resolutions 18, 9.15, 16, and 17 for Sloan Park change orders. Who makes that motion first, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion, just so everyone's clear on this, there's three resolutions. The first is when we awarded the contract, we awarded it at $766,546, though there was a typo in the engineer mathematics, and so we're amending that to $771,046. So $4,000 difference. The second resolution in June, July-ish, was it? We did a resolution for, excuse me? It was that long ago on the bridge? A resolution to, we went with a wider bridge, and it was a $40,000 change order from the original bid, and that actual number is $44,000. So we're amending that for the record. And the third is new. The third is a change order of $43,440 for rock removal and $10,000 for additional tree and stump removal, bringing the total contract to $868,896 right now. So that's what we're doing. Any comment? Discussion still open? Can I, do we get a motion? I'm sorry. Can I have a roll call, please?
Delripa,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes.
I should have said, and we, if you recall, we funded that. I mean, we're under the 20% change order at this time, and then we had the funding in place from our initial funding. So it's not, we're not borrowing new money, it's just all, just using up more of it. Next, I need motion 18.9.18, payment of the bills. Who makes that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hudson,
Yes, with the exception of PO 1801248.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes, except for 01463, items 1, 2, and 3.
Delariva,
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I need a motion for Resolution 18.9.19, awarding the cell tower bid. It's really an extension of the existing contract. Who makes that motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, just again, I stated this on the public record previously. SBA, the current owner of the tower that resides by the animal shelter property, that property is owned by Butler. We share in the benefits and rewards of the cell tower that's been there for a very long time. They approached us some time ago and asked if we would consider extending the lease. The lease is to expire in the next 4 to 5 years, and for them, it's more marketable to show the carriers they have a longer lease, so the carriers are willing to hang themselves on their tower. And the more they can hang on the tower, the more revenue we get. But as a result of doing this, the bid request was a signing bonus of $40,000. That will be split between Bloomingdale and Butler, $20,000 apiece. That'll elapse to Myrna and surplus for 2019. So that's good. And we average, Rich, what are we bringing in on this annually? 25, 20, almost 30,000 a year on the current rents that exist. So hopefully that'll grow with the extension of this lease. Any further comment? Roll call, please.
Yazdi,
Yes.
Costa,
Yes.
Tomato,
Yes.
Delariva,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
I should have said the only bidder was the existing leaseholder. We had one non-agenda item. This is an introduction by title of an ordinance to amend parking in specific town center districts between Van Dam and Glenwald Ave. We will do second final reading quite down the road because planning board needs to review. So based on their schedule, Bree, what do we say, November
27.
27th, so we get plenty of time for it to go to the planning board. So who makes the motion for that introduction?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale and the County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 92 zoning, Section 92-55 B1 General Business Zone, and Section 92-51.5 the B1A Commercial Zone of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Thank you. Second and final, again, November 27th. This time, I need a motion for late public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
We do have one matter of executive session. Any action considered, the public will have an opportunity to speak, but there will be none, but they would if they have the opportunity. Governing by schedule, reminder Pride Day, Saturday, 12 to 5, workshop October 2nd, regular meeting October 16th, last day to register to vote October 16th, and then workshop November 1st. Remember, guys, November 1st is an 8 a.m.?
Yes.
8 a.m. meeting. I need 4 people. That's for transfers. We do that every year. Okay, so please mark your calendar, November 1st. I don't even think it's a Tuesday, is it?
Is it before breakfast or after?
It's a Thursday.
It's a Thursday, 9 a.m. The only agenda item, as of now, will be transfer items for the budget. Okay, so put that on your calendar. At this time, I need a motion to enter executive session.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're in exec at 8:50.